Are you ready? Come and get it. This is Stryker of Enyo, and this is my series, What's It Like? So, this is a series where I end up sitting down and playing a game for a while, and I give you a first impression of it. And I basically tell you, well, what it's like to actually play the game. I do this when I don't necessarily have enough time to go through a full review, or in the case of Styx, I was trying to get together a review in time for the end of February, when it was going to be the free with games with gold. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to get a review out in time for that. And then I realized this game sucks. And it's really freaking hard. And I figured, you know what, let me just do What's It Like, because that'll give you guys an impression, and I don't have to spend another probably 6 to 8 hours trying to finish it properly. So here we go. That's right, this is What's It Like. This is the kind of sound effect you have on a Maury Povich show. You are the father! Yeah, it's a good idea to have static like that on an internet show, because then they think their connection's all fucked up. So, what is Styx? Well, Styx actually comes to us from a company called Cyanide Studios, and you might be thinking, oh my god, I can't believe it, and you're right, it's that Cyanide Studios, yeah, the kind that has given us Pro Cycling Manager, Horse Racing Manager, Dungeon Party, Pro Cycling Season, all day long, 2007, 2008, 2009, Jesus, you don't want to know how many games they've made like that. So yeah, they've done a lot of these, and that's basically been for their publisher, Focus Home Interactive. And every once in a while they have actually published their own games, like Dungeon Party and iSurf.
And the elves.
But what they're mostly known for, quite possibly, is the Game of Thrones games. But it's actually Game of Thrones Genesis, which was on the PC back in 2011, and it's the other Game of Thrones game that was on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 back in 2012. Yeah, that's right, that was the action RPG. So, and they did another game called Of Orcs and Men, and that's on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And this is actually a prequel to that. So you basically play as this goblin named Styx. He's the hero. So that's kind of where this game is going toward. It plays like in a kind of an Assassin's Creed. It's a very heavily stealth-focused game. Combat is really not its strong suit. You're not meant to be in combat for very long. You're really not meant to be seen, because you can't have, multiple enemies attacking you at the same time. Well, I mean, they don't. They all line up. But it's really not meant for you to overcome all that. So, but you play as Styx, and basically what he's doing is he's trying to get to some kind of sacred tree. There's a kind of amber that comes from this tree, and apparently it's very addictive for humans, but when he actually ate some of it, he actually became smarter. That's why he is the way he is. That's why he doesn't talk like your typical goblin with a really scratchy voice.
Only key in your apartments.
So he's basically trying to get to this tree, and it's controlled by the elves, I believe, at this point in the story.
If you hope to reach the heart.
So, and
go visit this governor.
So you're often trying to find objects and whatnot, but yeah, you're a short little goblin, and you're stealth killing humans and whatnot, and elves, and you're trying to get to this tree, and I think you're trying to free it. And the environments, I believe, are run off of the Unreal Engine. It's kind of your standard fantasy-type medieval. You got airships and whatnot. It's not bad, but it's not very memorable. It's kind of like playing the early Elder Scrolls games back when they were kind of complaining about the fact that they basically were just kind of a mishmash of generic fantasy. There's not necessarily a huge style that's very distinctive, which is what you kind of get more in Skyrim. But it's okay, it's serviceable. The areas aren't necessarily that big. You have 8 missions. Each mission is divided up into about 4 different areas. So here we go. Here's the mechanics of the game. So you're sneaking around, stealth killing people from behind. You can use a loud attack with X, or you can muffle the kill by holding down X. If you're very close to enemies, though, they're still going to hear that muffled kill. It's not completely silent. The environments are relatively big, but you're going to spend a lot of times indoors, and it's going to be a little cramped. Like I said, the game don't look too bad, but there's a lot of places you can fall to your death. But hey, it is kind of interesting. Combat isn't really a strong suit. The game don't look too bad, and there really is no reason why this game might not even be on someone's favorite list. I mean, it's just kind of different being a goblin running around and killing, and not sounding like your typical goblin, like from a Lord of the Rings game. There's lock picking. You're going to be poisoning food.
One little poison.
You got your standard platforming and stuff. But yeah, you're really not meant to engage enemies in combat directly. Like if I were to be seen here, 2 guys, that can be quite a bit. The mechanic for being seen, actually I don't talk about that too much in this area. You'll find out why. You basically have to time the X button and parry their attack, and if you parry enough blows, then you... yeah, he's dead. Then you end up being able to hit the X button another time and actually kill your foe. And that's about it. You're not directly attacking them. You're basically doing timed button presses. So you're hiding bodies. You have a particular vision mode that you can kind of call up. It uses amber in the game. There's little bottles of it and whatnot. It's kind of your standard thing. You can also go invisible for like a short 5-second duration. If you run really fast, they'll still end up hearing you. But yeah, you're killing humans and elves. Elves show up later, and you don't want to be seen. There you go. That's not good. And so yeah, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed, but heavy focus on the stealth, because you're really not meant to engage enemies, because they will friggin' kill you, and they'll kill you fast. And you also have a little clone of yourself that you can make. You spit out an egg, and this is actually the clone. I'm getting the attention of these bugs. They are a pain later on. And I'm basically bringing them into a furnace so that I can attack them. You can always put out a clone of yourself. You can use it for distractions and whatnot. But you can always put out a single one at a time later on. And they can do your bidding. They can't really attack for you, but here's the problems of Styx. So, when you bump into objects, they make noise. And that's going to give you away. That's not necessarily a problem, but the real problem is the combat system, or it's basically a lack thereof. So watch this. You know, there's a guy cleaning the floor there. There's 2 armed guards. Yeah, I bumped into the chair. I instantly get spotted. I'm trying to... Then you gotta parry the attacks. You gotta time it just right, just before the attack comes. I was actually able to take him out pretty quickly. So you gotta hit X right now, or just before. Armed guards, you have so many parries, then you can hit the X button, and then you can finally kill them. It's not good. It's not a very good system for attacking and whatnot. It basically turns fights into one-on-one brawls. You have to get down the timing of parrying the attack. The other thing is the indeterminate nature of the platforming and grabbing onto ledges, and whether or not your character can grab what's next to him. It's not very automatic. It's not very well taken care of. You'll see when you're on a little notch like that, he'll kind of lean a little bit to one side. That's supposed to mean, oh, I can jump to this and I will grab onto it. But it doesn't always mean that he will necessarily grab onto it. The animation is a little off. It's a little iffy. There's 2 more notches that are actually above me, if you can see. That's what I'm trying to grab, and I'm trying to jump to another ledge. I don't know if it's too dark for you, but yeah, it's really bad. I've fallen to my death a number of times just trying to grab a ledge or whatnot. Well, I mean, I should say I've failed grabbing onto ledges quite a bit. Dying from them happens too. The combat, I really need to address the friggin' combat, because it basically locks you into a one-on-one duel. You have to hit the X button at just the moment before they're gonna hit you in order to parry their attack. If you don't, you miss, and you will friggin' die. And when you die, you're looking at a 30 to 35 second load screen every single time. You're going to see this one in real time, and you're also going to see the glitching that it kind of does when it is just about to put you back into the game. This is a trial and error stealth game. So like when you come across a new enemy like the insects, you know, you're probably going to die the first time because you're moving too fast and you're making too much noise, right? Then you're going to try to stealth kill it, and you're going to realize, oh, I can actually do that, but it alerts the other ones that are nearby. I can't seem to figure out how I get the muffled kill version for the insects, and so on. So you have a process like that where you're dying 3 or 4 times just to figure out what to do. When you're trying to parry attacks, the guys that have the armor and the swords, you need to parry their attack 2 or 3 times before you finally get the option to kill them. The smaller guys, you only need to parry 1 attack, and then you can kill them outright. That's usually the slaves or the workers. But it's just, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to die a lot, and you're going to be spending 2 or 3 minutes, you know, of load time, reloading, getting back into the game, trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, and then you get seen, and it's kind of like when you get locked in that one-on-one duel, you can't just somersault out of the way. You somersault to the left and right of the enemy that has seen you. So it's very hard to try to get out of that lock-on and get to a safe place. The way the missions are structured is that there's 4 areas typically to each mission. There's 8 missions total. Typically in the 3rd area, you find the object that you're looking for. And then the 4th area is all about getting back to your sanctuary. So imagine in an Assassin's Creed game, you find the object you've been desiring, that you've been trying to look for. You find it, you get it, and you spent 3 whole areas, you know, going through, killing guys silently, and now in the 4th area, oh, you've got to get back to your hideout. Your hideout is the only place where you can actually rank up your abilities and get new ones. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. You can't just buy an ability. You don't get experience for kills, only for completing objectives and fighting the hidden relic in each mission. So, yeah, you know, if I was scoring it, I'd probably give it like a 65. If it's for you, try it out.